So Brett Yormark was over on the Triple Option show not too long ago, and when asked about the 4-4-2-2-1-1 playoff format hypothetical, which is one of the potential options we have going into 2026, where wildly enough, it's really wild to think about that college football, as of now, does not have a television or structure for its playoff next year. Next year. There is no other sport in which that is the case. But hey, it's the greatest sport on planet Earth, so I'm not trying to make it like all the other sports. Not in most cases, anyway. But Yormark said of the 4-4-2-2-1-1, quote, "I didn't like it. I felt like it created a huge divide between us and the Big Ten and SEC. I did. Created? Past tense? I'll have what he's having. I don't know what I don't think he's legitimately, at least I hope, he's not legitimately under the impression, no, there's no gap between us and the Big Ten and SEC. Well, you've got a media rights deal. They've got a media rights deal. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. And so the gap that he's talking about is financial, is or that I'm talking about, I guess I should say, but that he knows about, whether he'd admit it publicly or not. It's financial, it is competitive, it's branding. They have all sorts of issues in the Big 12 in comparison to the Big 10 and SEC. I think that gap is narrowing. I think if NIL Go and the House settlement can hold up in courts, you're going to have a smaller gap than you did before. If there is actually a punitive arm of this new governing body in college football that can give legitimately strict, harsh, real deterring, real punishments of deterrent. I hate English. I hate English. I don't know how many of you know this about me. I also speak Spanish. I find it to be a significantly easier language. English is easier to speak. Here's what I'm trying to say. The punishments need to be severe enough, and if they can actually be enforced so that they can actually deter illegal actions from taking place. That's what I'm trying to say. But English is just this dumb, mixed, jarbled nonsense of language. I should just start doing this show in Spanish and see how quickly my audience declines and how quickly I have a call from my boss. Anyway, getting back on topic here. So, Yormark has expressed support for the 5+11 format, which is the one I would like to go with. I am a fan because I am more pro-committee than most. I do not think they get it right all the time in the rankings. I do think when it comes to selecting the teams that deserve to go and compete for a national championship, they have gotten it right over and over and over again. And so even though I don't like that they are willing year in and year out to put the Missouris or Tennessee from a couple of years ago into the top 25, and I've railed against that here on my show, I think they get way more right than they get wrong. And they just a year ago didn't acquiesce to the SEC's request. They were disinclined to acquiesce to their request. They learned from Captain Barbosa and Elizabeth Swann. They said, no, we're not going to do that just because you want us to. Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, you can watch the playoff from home. Learn to beat teams like Vanderbilt and Kentucky next time, and we'll let you in. But I think that, Brett Yormark's mentality that I've talked about before here on the show of I'm going to bet on myself. We want the results on the field to matter. I'm going to bet on our conference. I'm going to do all this. I respect that angle. Even if it's where he's being boxed into, even if he doesn't actually want the 5+11 and he thinks what, some other big time pundits have said about it before, which is, no, this is terrible, this is horrible, this is just going to be a psyop. This is going to be a, takeover by the Big Ten and SEC. Like, opposed to what? As opposed to what? Them guaranteeing they get at least 8 teams in combined? 5 plus 11 doesn't guarantee that. Guarantees 1. Probably 2. And with the conference championship game loser will probably also get in. Okay. Now you got to go out and earn it, and you got to earn it in the eyes of the committee. Not everybody likes that. I'm more okay with that. I appreciate that Brett Yormark is willing to take that stance of, you know what? We don't want to sit here and whine and complain. We don't want to sit here and think about what the world could be or what the world should be. Take the world as it is, not as you would like it to be. The movie quotes are all over today. I don't really know why. It's how my brain works. That was Captain America, the Winter Soldier. But that's where I think his mentality is. I appreciate that. I really do. It's very much a hunker down and control what you can control sort of deal. Because you know what? Some things, whether in football, on the field, off the field, in life, in golf, if you're somebody who golfs like I do, sometimes you got to go out and say, you know what? I can only focus on what I have within my control. What does Brett Yormark have within his control? His conference, his teams, his member institutions. And so if he's got to go back to them and say, you know what? This isn't the format that we wanted. This isn't necessarily best for the league, but I think it's the best for college football, and we've got to go out and be better. And yeah, we're working at a disadvantage here, but we're getting some help from the House settlement, potentially, if that puts some restrictions on things. But we as a conference have to go out, and whatever happens, let's go down swinging. He's got to look at Texas Tech and hold them up as a shining example to the rest of the conference of, hey, this is what you should look like. You want to keep up in the new world. You want to have the ability for your 10-2 to be seen as more worthy of a playoff spot in the eyes of the committee than 9-3 SEC. Go be Texas Tech. Go brand your programs as strongly as you possibly can so that they give you ingrained levels of respect that aren't always afforded to teams in that conference or teams that are not in the Big Ten or SEC. Go out there and earn it year after year. Go out and schedule quality non-conference games. Go out and win those quality non-conference games. Go do all of those things. And you know what? Maybe at the end of the day, it won't be good enough sometimes. But you gotta go out and just make it happen as best you can. I respect that mentality a lot. Do I see the flaw in that thinking? Yeah, sure. But I think he's trying to make the best of a bad situation. Sometimes that's all you can do.